Well, hello. Today in this second vlog in the sequence for solving quadratic equations using the square root property. You see here. And now understand that the second vlog we're going to be talking about problems that look differently. Not like x squared equals 9 or x squared equals 16. Now we're going to have the quantity squared. And these are a little more complex, and we're going to discuss these now, okay? The first example here, you'll see what happens. We have parentheses x minus 3 squared. Okay, so now what are we going to do with this? We're going to take the square root of both sides as our first step and see what happens. Okay, but x minus 3 equals plus 4 and minus 4. That's not quite as simple as we thought it would be. So we have to work with a 3. We're going to add 3 to both sides. But how are we going to do that? It's easier to split this into two equations. All right, so we have two equations now, and they're both positive possible answers. We're going to add 3 to both sides, and we'll see two answers for x. So we have two answers. I'm going to put them back in the original equation. It should equal, both of them should equal 16 for 7 and for negative 1. We'll see. So I use parentheses to emphasize that wherever x is, it's like a holding place for the answer. We remove x and put in 7, or we put in negative 1. Okay, so you get the concept there. Now 7 minus 3 squared, so it's 4 squared equals 16, 16 equals 16, and we'll see what the second one too. I think they'll both work out. All right. The next two examples we're going to work on, but I'm not going to check the second example. Number 2. Okay. Now x minus 1, the quantity squared equals 6. Again, we're going to take a square to both sides. Now, there's something interesting here. So it's a little odd. We weren't used to seeing this yet. X minus 1 equals plus and minus square root of 6. I could convert it to a decimal, but really this is an irrational number, meaning the decimal goes on forever without repeating or stopping. And I don't want to estimate it. I like to keep the square root of 6 as it is. It's more accurate. And it will check more accurately in the future, so we'll leave it the way it is. Okay? But we're going to add 1 to both sides. And we'll see how this works out. Really, there are 2 answers here, right? Not just one answer. It's positive square root of 6 plus 1, and then negative square root of 6 plus 1. Okay? If you were to check it out with the square and whatnot, it will work out. I can guarantee that one. Now, let's do our third example. And we'll see how this works, and we will check this answer as well. All right? Okay. We have plus and minus the square root of 7. There's no perfect square in there. We can't simplify it, and it's not a perfect square itself, so we're kind of stuck with it, quote unquote. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides, and then we're going to divide by 5 as well, because we have 5 times x, so the opposite is divide of multiplication. So this is our answer. Well, there are 2 answers. We have negative 1 plus and minus square root of 7 over 5. Now, if you're using your calculator, you could use the decimal, I guess, or whatnot. Well, I will show you how to check it as it is in the equation we have. I'm going to use this positive square root of 7 for our check, but understanding there is also the answer with a negative square root of 7. Okay. It may look complex, but really it's not very complex. We're going to substitute the answer in for x, minus 1 plus the square root of 7, all divided by 5. If you multiply the fraction 5 and 5 right there, they cancel out. Let's do that first, and we'll simplify this as we go. Now, if we look on the inside the parentheses here, we have it's parentheses plus 1. The parentheses on the inside doesn't change anything. So we have negative 1 plus square root of 7 plus 1. The whole thing squared. We'll see what happens. Watch. Okay, see what happened? We have minus 1 plus 1, and that becomes 0. We have to write that again. So now we have what's left is positive the positive square root of 7 squared. And when we do that, it becomes 7 equals 7. And there's our check. I checked the positive root. Now you can check the negative one on your own, or the positive square, the answer involving positive square root of 7. And when you have the answer involving negative square root of 7, it's going to work out the same way. At the end, we'll see negative square root of 7 squared. And it's still going to be 7 equals 7. Thank you. Thank you for attending this vlog, and I'll see you next vlog.